If you find yourself getting understeer, then you're not getting enough grip from the front tyres. It could mean the car isn't being allowed to lean on the tyre, possibly caused by a front suspension that's too stiff, or maybe the front wing isn't producing enough downforce. Okay, there are only a few cars out on track. We should consider getting out there.
Honestly, I don't know. So I'm just gonna take a guess. And if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, oh well.
All clear the garage, please. Cars ready to leave. Okay, we've only got 1 lap of fuel remaining. Okay, so their best lap so far, 1 minute 27.8.
Just need more front end. It's not terrible though.
Right, so our fastest lap currently 1:27.4.
Where's Konami? He's not on a competitive lap. Why did Mango retire with that? Oh my god. That was an unnecessary risk. I mean, we might just make it through still because in back the grid is weaker than usual, let's say.
Okay, engines fired up, we're set.
What the fuck?
Okay, we've only got 1 lap of fuel remaining.
Insane. How quickly the
Okay,
tires
our
were.
best lap so far, 1 minute 28.7. We're 13th in the speed trap, 331.7 kilometers per hour. Okay, engines fired up, we're set. Okay, we've been pushed down to P12. Okay, we've only got 1 lap of fuel remaining. And we've dropped to P12.
Probably use even more front end, honestly.
We don't currently have the data for that request.
So they got knocked out in Q1. I wasn't paying attention, my teammate was, so I had no idea. So it's the final sector. And sector 1. But especially the final. I'm really slow there. Let's go now.
Okay guys, everyone be aware, the car's ready to go.
That chicane, last chicane, just fucked me.
Less than 1 lap of fuel left now. The tank's pretty much empty. Right, so our best lap so far, 1:26.9. And we're 5th in the speed trap, 338.8 kilometers per hour. The track's pretty quiet at the moment. Perhaps we should get out there, get a few laps in. Standing by. Okay, we've only got 1 lap of fuel remaining.
Hmm. Yeah, he's too quick for me.
We can now use DRS. DRS now available. You might experience some understeer now that you're in the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as soon as possible. car behind starting to drop back. There's a gap beginning to form. Let's make the most of it. So your ERS is running a bit low. Look into changing your ERS mode in the MFD for a more conservative burn rate, or you might want to try some lifting or gentle braking to recharge. Okay, no issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. seeing a lot of tyre deg now. We've got a new strategy if you want to take a look at it. Got that confirmed. Okay, caution, caution. Virtual safety car is out. Reduce speed and maintain a positive delta on your dash. Okay, slow down, slow down. Your delta's negative, which means you're going too fast. Reduce your pace. Okay, VSC ending. We're going green. Maintain positive delta until the green flags. Okay,
Let me go, man.
Back
Fuck.
into the race. Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that. Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track. Okay, this is not your true position. They haven't pitted yet, so don't waste time fighting them. They're going to be coming in soon.
What are you doing, man? Fucking fuck. Form up.
Right, drop your speed. Our delta's too low and we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
Yeah. Okay. See you later.
Remember to adjust your ERS mode and your MFD if you need to. Don't forget about the overtake ERS mode in your MFD. It's a good boost but drains quickly, so use it with caution. Push, push.
Why? Okay. What are you doing? That's the safety car.
Safety car in this lap. Safety car in this lap. Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember, there's no overtaking until the timing line. Stay in position until the green flags. tyre wear rates are lower than we expected. Stay out a little longer if you can. Okay, copy that. Right, we need to get past here. Use overtake, use overtake. VSC deployed. Right, drop your speed. Our delta's too low, and we're going to risk a positive delta here. Slow your pace down and maintain a positive delta. Okay, the safety car is out. Safety car is out. We need to form up at reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make sure to keep it positive. Okay, we're more or less into the pit window now. If you want fresh rubber during the safety car, we're ready for you. Stay out, stay out. There's no need to box under this safety car. We've got nothing to gain from new tyres here. Understood, copy that. Second place, you're in second place. The Williams driver's ahead of you. Less than a second separates you. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Red Bull driver behind you now. Okay, the gap is less than a second. Okay, they're on fresh hards. And your pit window opens in 2 laps time. Okay, 12 laps to go. Okay, you sat in P2. Williams driver ahead. Less than a second separates you. Okay, they're on fresh hards. That's a Red Bull driver behind you. Okay, the gap is less than a second. Okay, they're on fresh hards. And your pit window opens in 2 laps time. Okay, 12 laps to go. Okay, let's get ready to go racing again. The safety car is in this lap. When the field accelerates, remember there's no overtaking until the timing line. Safety car in this lap. Okay, clear. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good. Okay, the pit window's open, so let's box this lap, box this lap. Okay, pit in this lap, and remember the speed limit. We'll be penalised if we exceed it. Keep that in mind as you approach. remember, box this lap. Keep an eye on your distance to the speed limit line as you approach and make sure you don't speed. Gap to your teammate behind, 11.4 seconds. Okay, pit in this lap, and remember the speed limit. We'll be penalised if we exceed it. Keep that in mind as you approach. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 22.7 seconds. Grip is probably dropping due to wear, so don't be too aggressive. Green flag. Final lap, final lap. Push, push.
it's all over. It is now.
So we're here talking Cup. I was just congratulating Leader, man, on a great P12 there, you know? He was the last minute addition. So shout out to Leader.
Yeah, good shit, leader.
Yeah, for sure, man. But Greg, man, fuck, bro. Here we are. This time a P2. Man, oh man. And your pace was just there today, bro. You want to talk about your affinity for this circuit?
Yeah, man, I think it's definitely a wheel-friendly track for some of the guys out there. I know it's been challenging to avoid the curbs and the walls, but I did put in quite a few, quality laps of practice. Did pretty well as well to start P5. Could have been a little bit better, but I was very happy. And then the VSC safety car timing just worked out perfectly. Also frozen left for some reason. And a mango penalty puts us in P2. So we are so stoked right now. And yeah, very, very happy with that one overall. It was very hard to overtake though, which is not usually something you would say around Jeddah. But yeah, it was just really hard to stick with someone through Sector 1. But yeah, very happy with it. Chenzo as well did an awesome comeback. He had a rough first half, but he finished in P6, which is great. So team overall got what, 24 points right now? So
God
that's
damn.
it's about as good as you can do.
26,
God
26.
26.
Now, Greg,
go.
you touched on it. Just from what I've been watching as an observer, it seems like the dirty air in this game is far more exaggerated than past
Yes.
iterations of this franchise. Am I right on that? Like,
Absolutely. It is the highest it's ever been.
yeah.
I personally really like it. I don't want it to change. I just want maybe a little bit more slipstream, and I think the balance is maybe perfect. I'd rather have it now than none. But yeah, it is definitely very hard. Sector 1, you just eat it the whole way. So
It really just seemed like all you guys were stuck where you were, to be honest.
yeah.
Like, just
Yeah.
watching Macti, Kaname, you, like, you're just kind of Chenzo, you're just there. Like no one even had realistic shots making overtakes a lot of the time.
Yeah, you just be too far back
Yeah.
when the DRS opens, and then you don't want to burn your whole battery, so you turn it off and you stay there.
Well, I guess it just means there's more of an emphasis on qualifying well as well too, like in
Yes.
this game, because of it,
Yeah.
right?
And that's something I've really tried to work on a lot, and I think it's paying off because that was always my weakness. But yeah, overall, love that race. Thank you to all the drivers. Thank you, Bone.
Well, thank you, buddy. Congratulations, man. We're gonna go pop over here to P10, the DRS Maestro. Another solid drive here, getting points in the Lightning Cup. The Maestro is just way to not give up tonight, man, and stuck it out, battled in there, and talk about your keys to that P10.
I don't know, just be safe. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Just finished the race. That was my mission today. I didn't practice or any of that, so feels actually better than when I practice. So I like it.
No, you did good, bro. Thought it was a really good, clean, consistent drive.
I take the point.
Hell yeah, man. And now it's been a couple
P17 to
races.
P10, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good drive,
Couple
Maestro.
races. Great drive. And a couple races now in the points for the Maestro. So yeah, good for you, bro. Happy for you, and doing your thing, man.
Yeah.
Go follow the Maestros League too, and go follow DRS Maestro 7 on all the platforms. Great league. You need to use traction control though.
No, never gonna happen in there.
Okay, thank you, Maestro. Appreciate you, brother. Much love.
Time, bro.
We're gonna go here to TTV Kaname. Finished P3 today. Seemed like you were just stuck where you were all race, bro. You never really had, from what I saw, a chance to move further up there. Realistic opportunity at an overtake. You want to talk about the end result and if that was a frustrating race for you, maybe?
To be fair, I won more, but I don't think I had the pace to win. I don't know if it was dirty air or just my pace, but I was struggling a lot behind Greg. Particularly the first sector, I couldn't turn. I had severe understeer, and I just couldn't stay close to him. He would just pull away. I would close up in the first last three sectors, or the last two sectors, I'm sorry. And in the first sector, I would just lose it all. But yeah, no, the first stint was pretty good. I won't say it was bad. I almost got pulled into the wall in the first lap, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, I managed to gain a position, and then by lap, I think it was 4 or 5, I was starting to like eke into the gap of Greg because he was in front of me, and I can tell like he was starting to struggle more and more with his tires. And then, like, as soon as I was like, okay, because I was charging my ERS, managed to get to 100%. And then I was like, starting to think where I could, like, overtake him, because I couldn't overtake him turn 1. I couldn't overtake him, turn 4. Like, there's no other place except from the final corner. And probably that's about it. That's probably the only corner I can see him kind of struggling in. And, I was using all of my ERS, doing everything I can, but it still wasn't enough. I got close to one point, but then, I was getting closer and closer to overtaking him, but then the VSC came out. And when the VSC came out, it just neutralized the whole race. Everybody got 100% battery. And then when I saw the top 3, 4, I'm not really sure, they pitted. But when they pitted, that's when it ended. So they probably gained a few seconds. I would say like 4 or 5, maybe. I'm not really sure, but it was an advantage for them. I couldn't pit because as soon as if I would have pitted, there would have been no advantage for me because I would have still had to. There would have been no VSC when I pitted. So me and Greg stayed out. We were in the VC together, with a lot more other people, and we were trying to work together. And then I think lap 9, a safety car came out. That's when we put on the hards, and then we had 2 lap advantage over the top 3, which is of course Frozen, Mango, and B Tom. And I was pretty happy with that. So I was like, okay, well, we got a little tire advantage. Maybe that helps a little bit. By the looks of it, it did not help. It was really hard to overtake. I had very low wings. It still didn't matter. It just like this game. The dirty air is so tough. Like, it's very, very tough. And man, I was trying my hardest to get close, but I just couldn't. Like, I would just have a slide. I would understeer, and it was so hard to overtake Greg. Like, it was very, very hard. And I probably had one chance to do it, but he kind of went for a move, and I just managed. I was like, I'm not gonna really do it. I'm not gonna take out Greg. I'm not gonna risk it. So I was happy with the P3, and then I saw Mango struggling, which is the reason why I mainly just chilled for a little bit because I was I didn't want P4. I wanted more of a podium, so I was trying to like push Greg to maybe get a mistake or something like that, but it didn't. Greg did a beautiful race. He did everything he could. He did barely any mistakes. I was behind him. Like he did the perfect race in my opinion. I was behind him most of the race. He was probably quicker than me, I would say. But man, like it was so hard to overtake. Even with my low wings, it was insane. And on that topic as well, like Mango was struggling in the first sector, but it did not matter at all. Like at one point he cut the corner and it still didn't matter. I mean, he did get a 3-second penalty, which guaranteed me a podium. But at the same time, like man, it was so hard to overtake. I mean, I did go from P6 to P3, which I'm happy about, but I don't even know if I was quick. That's the thing, because I was just stuck in the DRS train the whole race. I would literally save my ERS the whole time, like burn it for one lap to see if I can somehow get close, and it still wasn't possible. So overall, though, good race. It was fun. I liked it.
I had
not
some-
a lot of overtaking. I didn't have a lot. It wasn't really exciting. I will say that, but it's my first time racing in Jeddah in this game, and man, it's so bad. Like it's not as good as it was in 24. But they wanted 30 year, so y'all got it. But
Well,
anyways, it was fun.
I had some follow-up questions, but I'm pretty sure you answered everything and more. So,
Yeah,
shout
no.
out to you, bro. That was a thorough answer. I love it, bro. You're the man. And
Yeah, no, for sure.
great
I love
drive. I know you're looking for more than a P3 always. That's why I said maybe it was a little frustrating, but I mean, fuck, for anyone else, it's a great drive, bro. And
Yeah, exactly. I'm grateful. Like there was times where I was struggling. Like I was struggling a lot with the setup. I think I went wrong with the setup somewhere in the race. Quality as well, I was not good. I was struggling a lot in quality, struggling a lot in the race. But I'm just happy I'm still getting these podiums like I wanted to. You know what I mean? And quality has been my weakness this whole fucking game, and it's been such a bad thing for me. But I'm happy that in the races I have an opportunity, and I did enough. Like I'm happy. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it for sure.
beautiful, bro. All right, Konami, thank you so much, dude. We'll see you around, okay?
Bro, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you're the man, bro. Much love to you. All right, B-Tom, are you here? Still here?
Yeah, I'm still breathing.
You're still breathing? You didn't fall asleep? We're good? No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. He's B-Tom. Gonna ask you specifically, at one point in that race, you were ahead of Mango and you guys pit and you're coming through traffic. You were behind a car and Mango made one of the best overtakes I've ever seen in this game. Very Mika Hakkinen-esque. I'm pretty sure you know the one I'm alluding to.
Yeah. I mentioned
And,
it during
just-
the safety car. I was like, the Alpine driver is retarded because you're going
Yeah, no, I'm not
side
saying
by
he
side.
dunked on you or anything.
No,
He was just
no.
opportunistic.
No, it's just like the Alpine
Yeah.
driver was like almost putting me in the wall basically, because I was on the outside going through turn 13 and they just like leave me no room, so I had to back out completely, and then they just don't accelerate out of the corner. So like, if you look at my onboard, like I'm going like full throttle, half throttle, full throttle, half throttle, the entire
Yeah.
time, because like
Yeah.
he was
Oh,
probably
look.
like partially on throttle, not full throttle for whatever reason. So, I mean, fair play to Mango. He saw the opportunity.
That's
and
what I
took
mean. It was
so.
more so just very opportunistic
Yeah,
by
yeah, for
Mango.
sure.
But
It
like
was-
in
it was
that
a good-
situation, how do you not kind of panic there? Because I know you're probably frustrated because not only are you losing time behind this guy, Mango overtook you, and that's the guy you're racing.
Yeah.
So
I
how do you
wasn't
keep
too
your
stressed
composure there?
about Mango getting by me. It was just more so the fact that the Alpine came close to ending my race,
Yep.
and they were fighting me unnecessarily hard, considering that they were basically a pit stop down. But, yeah, I won't touch on it more than that.
Yeah, bro. Well, I mean, you claiming another victory here. You didn't get Saudi last year. You got it today. And
Yeah.
I don't know, doing what you're doing, man. And I don't know what else we could really. Anything else you want to comment about that race that maybe I didn't see, or anything catch your eye?
Not particularly. I think Frozen had a bit more pace than me, similar to the other guy last week. just gaining like 1/2 every single lap. So yeah, I was kind of fortunate in the fact that he couldn't finish the race. Though I probably would have done I don't know. I don't know if I would have done it for sure, but obviously, you can't cross the pit entry line, and he did that under the VSC. So if it was if the win's up for grabs, maybe I would have reported it, but obviously that wasn't important at the end. So yeah, but all in all, good race. Again, losing that win at Imola sucks now because what's that? 13. It would have been 13. Which is longer than the season we had, and
Oh my god.
yeah, and longer than the first season. But it is what
All
it
right,
is.
all right, all right.
I will say I have been fortunate, especially here in Coda. Here with
Whatever.
Frozen not being able to finish, Coda with the one guy getting caught out by the safety car timing. So.
At the end of the day, man, you got to be good to be lucky too, man. You got to put yourself in position so people can say, "Oh, he's lucky; it always works out." But you're doing something to be in that spot for it to always work out too. So
Yeah,
I think that needs to be acknowledged. So, but guys, I would like to wrap this up. Thank you, everybody, as always, man. Congrats to B-Tom, everyone who had a great race. Thank you, everyone, for racing, man. We're out of here. Beautiful, boys. Thank you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Well done.
Go back to icing my wrist, because
dude.
holy.
I gotta say, those first 8 laps was just brilliant racing. Then, like,